Hey, what's going on guys? John here, and today we're going to be going over the Solstice packages. So basically, what I did was I grinded out 100 Solstice packages. And the whole reason for me doing this was I wanted to figure out the answer. Are the Solstice packages worth grinding out? Well, let's get into it. So, before we get into things, I'm just going to go over a couple of random little notes. First off, it took me about 5-ish hours to grind out this many packages. So keep in mind that time investment when we go to breaking down the individual parts of the packages. Another thing to keep in mind is that I will not be going over any of the economy sources like planetary materials, glimmer, or legendary shards. Just mainly because these materials can stack when you're opening the packages, so it can make it harder when analyzing the footage. And on top of that, I had about full glimmer halfway through, so I stopped getting glimmer and I was unable to tell how much glimmer I got, as the amount of glimmer you get each time is not static. And probably the final note we're going to go over is when it comes to the lowest stat roll and the highest stat roll, that is only for the Solstice armor. I'm not including any blues or just normal legendary gear. Just the Solstice gear. So, first up is blues. I got 79 rare blue quality gear. Next up is purples. I got 29 purple legendary quality gear. Next up is umbral engrams. I got 17 umbral engrams. And then when it comes to enhancement cores, I got 24. Upgrade modules, 4, and enhancement prisms, surprisingly, 1. And the reason why I say surprisingly, because I was not expecting enhancement prisms to be in there whatsoever. Bungie seems to be pretty stingy on this kind of stuff. And the thing you've all been waiting for, Solstice gear. I got exactly 32 pieces of it. And when it comes to the lowest stat roll, I got 55 for the lowest, and for the highest, I got 63. So, out of the 100 Solstice packages, I got a little over a quarter of Solstice gear with 32. So, with all the stats broken down, let's go ahead and add them all up and see if it was worth our time. So, let's take the 32 pieces of Solstice gear, the low stat roll of 55, and the high stat roll of 63, and when we all them add up, plus, almost forgot, the 5 hours, I would have to say, it is 100% not worth it whatsoever. Which then segues into a little rant. I'm not sure why Bungie feels a need to cuck us with loot, especially with sunsetting coming into the way. Honestly, this just makes it harder and harder for me to believe in Bungie when it comes to sunsetting. How the hell am I supposed to believe in the sunsetting stuff for armor when the highest stat roll I got out of 100 packages was 63? Now honestly, you could throw in the argument, oh, you probably just had shit luck. And yeah, that could be very true. But honestly, I'm just not buying it, and that's not an acceptable excuse. We're about to enter an age of sunsetting, meaning our armor only will have a lifespan of 1 year. With the current way upgrade materials are being distributed, it's really hard for a lot of people to sit there and masterwork a piece of gear. Especially fully masterwork something which costs an Ascendant shard. For a lot of people, that's a huge investment. And this is mainly from the fact that you only get maybe, I think, 1 or 2 from the season pass. And if you want even more, you gotta go grind out the highest difficulties in the Nightfall. And even then, in the 1080 Master difficulty Nightfall, the drop rate is just absolute shit. So if you really want Ascendant shards, you're gonna have to do the Grandmaster difficulty Nightfall. And the problem this season is most of the Nightfalls, except for Lake of Shadows, most of them are pretty difficult, meaning the average player will struggle to grind out these Grandmaster Nightfalls. Which brings us back to the point of masterworking a piece of gear is a large time and commitment investment. And so then, this brings us to 2 solutions to this problem. Actually, you know what? Make that 3. Bungie either needs to A, make armor drop like candy, B, make higher stat rolls more common, or C, make masterwork materials like Ascendant shards more common. And honestly, I'm probably gonna have to go with the last option with making Ascendant shards more common. And honestly, this can go hand in hand with people just not wanting to try out new builds in terms of armor mods. which is another thing that Bungie is trying to get people to do. Try out new armor mods. So it really just doesn't make that much sense. You want people to try out new armor mods, give them more materials to upgrade their armor so they can try out more mods. Though to be fair, like I said, this is probably more of a weapon issue, but that's another rant for another day. Anyways, that was the Solstice packages, broke down and ranted about a little. Anyways, this was H. John, and I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.